me being the person I am, I emailed the city and I said, I'm sorry, I must be reading this wrong, or I'm entering something wrong into your system, because I know I've been doing this for over 20 years that I don't need an architect to build a partition wall. So I got one for you. So I have a permit dilemma, which I guess not really a dilemma. Just a super well, here's how this transpired to begin with.
Okay.
One of the designers I work with had a client who just bought a brand new build, $1 million condo, first floor. It's only a 2-story building, so it's literally first floor, second floor. They own the first floor, and that goes into the basement as well. Regardless, that brand new 2023. Okay, so they left.
My ugly mug. The battery, the camera takes up is a lot of juice to keep this in focus.
All this is on Addison Avenue, like 2 blocks from Wrigley Field. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
So it's like living in a fishbowl. Like they're on the first floor and they have like almost like I think it is actually floor to ceiling windows almost. So it's a pretty, pretty ultra modern look on the front of the house. And they just, since they get a lot of foot traffic and everything else, they just wanted to separate that because it's a big open floor plan. So from the front room, the next room is the kitchen. So they just wanted to give just a partition wall with some nice arched openings. Okay.
Yeah.
So literally partition wall. I'm not moving any existing walls. I am adding this with 2 arched openings in it. And when I was there and I walked through the project, permits came up and I told them, I said, we're going to add outlets in this wall because it's, 17 feet, give or take, from wall to wall. So I said, technically by code, I think we're going to have outlets, but I said, you're probably going to want convenience outlets anyways. So we planned on that. And I said, really, you're probably only going to need permits because of these outlets. So we'll probably need an electrical permit. But I said, there is what they call the express permit process. So I said, we can probably get through that fairly quickly. It should be able to get a permit within 2 to 3 weeks, I would think. Okay. Fast forward a few weeks. I had to renew my GC license. So I did that first. And then they're trying to streamline this process. So they put all this stuff online for this express permit. You can just submit everything online, which I think is pretty much the case everywhere. But I started to do that. I upload my GC license. I upload floor plan. I upload elevation. I upload electrician's license. I give them a brief description as to scope of work, project address, all that fun stuff. And it would not let me even submit for permit because it says your project will require a, quote, design professional. And that design professional is either an architect or a structural engineer that can approve your drawings. So me being the person I am, I emailed the city and I said, I'm sorry, I must be reading this wrong, or I'm entering something wrong into your system, because I know I've been doing this for over 20 years that I don't need an architect to build a partition wall that is non-structural. Well, turns out apparently I'm wrong. So the person in the office gave me the plan reviewer's information and said, please contact Bob. And there was his number and his email address on there. So I called Bob. He didn't answer. I left him a voicemail. He never called me back. I left Bob an email. He never emailed me back. I left Bob another email. He never emailed me back. So I'm just thinking, typical city, they just don't care, right? So since this has now gone on for a couple of weeks, I figure I need to give my client and the designer some sort of feedback here as to look, this is where we're at. We're not going to have permit in a week the way this is going. So I reached out to the designer first and I said, look, this is what's happening. Told her the whole story I just told you. And I said, let me reach out to a couple architects I work with just to see what their take is on this, right? So first architect I called, she said, why are you getting a permit for this job? The licensed architect who flat out said, why are you pulling a permit? And I said, honestly, it's not me, it's the client. I give them the option. It's a super small project. I just say, if you're more comfortable, we'll pull a permit, you know? And she goes, yeah,
Right.
don't pull a permit, just do the project. But she said, if you're really going to, then get what they would call a patch and replace or patch and repair permit. So it's literally like you could say there was a water leak and you were just repairing drywall. So I said,
Oh,
this is going to be a new wall and we're adding electric and whatever. And she said, it doesn't matter. She said, just all you would do is call for a final inspection and they would come in and look at it and say, yeah, it's fine. So that was one piece of advice I got. I
okay.
called the other architect. He told me, same thing. Why are you pulling a permit? And I was just like, again, this isn't me. I just give them the option. So he said, well, look, he's like, I would change your wording. Don't tell them that you're building a partition wall, because if you're changing the floor plan, that's why they want permit. And they want standard plan review permit, not express permit, standard plan review, because you are changing a floor plan. So now that goes to a potentially 30, 40, 50-day time so that that gets reviewed. An architect is going to have to draw this up, submit it, stamp it, all that fun stuff. They're going to charge a couple grand to do that. And we're literally building a partition wall. I mean, I'm not touching anything structural. There's nothing load bearing here. What are you talking about? Like, that's insane to me to have to do that.
Yeah.
So they wonder why people go around the city
Right.
and don't want permits when it's like you're adding thousands of time to do this.
Yeah.
So I very politely, I left them a very nice, well thought out email and just said, this is where we're at. This is everything that's transpired over the last couple of weeks. My job is to just educate you, and then you can make that decision. It's your home. So I flat out said, if you would prefer to get permit, I am happy to do that. Just know that there's additional cost to that. There's additional time to that. There's going to be an inspector that's going to come in after that. That's the process. If you want to not do that, per two architects' recommendations, we can do this without a permit.
Right.
It's still a licensed electrician. I'm still a licensed general contractor. Everybody is insured. It's insane.
Yeah.
So shockingly, they just emailed me back this afternoon and just said, we still would like to go for
What?
the permit. Yeah.
Wow.
They said we would like to get the permit. So I said, okay. So I'm going to have an architect draw a wall so that we can submit that to the city for,
Hey,
insane.
that's what they want. They gonna
I'll
make
do it.
them feel a little warm and fuzzy, but they don't know you and they don't know your electrician. They don't know. They think they're covering their butts, so
Sure.
they're willing to pay and wait. So be it.
I understand.
Not so easy when you have to go to the city, because just for exactly what you're talking about, then it just the bureaucracy and the red tape of it all.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, we're not doing a partition wall. We're in the middle of trying to do an attached dwelling unit and an addition. And we submitted in October, and we still haven't gotten through our permits yet. We still haven't seen permits yet.
Oof. Ouch.
Yeah. So we're
Out.
pretty close to March, and we submitted in October.
And did they give you an indication of what that
Oh, come on.
time is like?
Are you seriously? No.
No.
You're not going to hear anything from them.
You have no idea. You have no idea. You just submit that, and whenever you hear back, you hear back.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Do they realize the hamper
They
that
don't
puts
care.
on the business?
They don't care.
You're
They
trying
don't
to
care.
plan things far in advance, you know?
They don't
That's rough.
care, and I suspect most of them don't have as much building experience that most of us do. And
That's probably
we're
true.
relying on them to say yay or nay.
Yeah, that's probably true too. Yeah.
Kind of silly.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is just the process is crazy, So
Yeah. Not to say that, there's not good ones out there. And, I would love to believe and want to think that the inspectors out there it's kind of like a resource for us. That's how I would love to envision it.
Mhm.
Is that it's not them against us. It's, hey, Mr. Inspector, hey, Bob, like, this is what's going on, buddy. Like, let's use our common sense. And what do you
Mhm.
think? Like, let's not
Yeah.
just well, this sentence here under this rule book can be interpreted this way if I think this way, and
Yeah.
I choose to identify with this way today. Okay, well now
Yeah.
I'm fucked. Yeah, now I'm screwed, and you screwed over how many
So
people?
how your inspectors are out there, but like for me, most of the time, it's not the inspector personally. Most of it's the process. It's the process that's awful. It's just
Wow.
excruciatingly awful. It's like I even look at the city of Chicago, Department of Buildings website, and you go on there and try and submit this stuff, and it's like, I do this for a living, and I struggle with it. Where it's like, do I want this permit? This permit? Do I need this? I'm uploading this. I'm doing this. This needs to get verified, and then it's like, when the inspector shows up, they just walk in and say, yeah, this looks good, okay, and they're out the door, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's such a string to me that's backwards,
yeah, yeah. Right.
Like you should be able to get, here's what we're building. And then when that person comes in to actually inspect, they should inspect. I mean, I just had a inspector walk through in Burr Ridge, and he walked in and asked me what he was looking at.
Yeah.
He said, why am I here?
Yep.
And I was like,
They
really? Seriously?
almost. I don't think any inspector has ever walked on my job site and knew what he was walking into. He just shows up because it's on his schedule, and I was like,
Yeah.
so what do we do, an addition? No, I have a small bathroom remodel upstairs.
Right. Yeah.
Never.
Yep. I literally had, this guy was in for final inspections just last week, and he came in and looked and said, everything looks great. And I said, you're doing electrical also? You're doing final and electrical? And he said, yeah. And I said, oh, well, we also did a new service panel if you wanted to look at the electric panel also. He goes, oh, did you? And I was like, yeah.
Awesome.
Should be on your list, man. Like, holy cow. You don't even, so you're not even looking at a new service panel. Oh, yeah, did you? And what does he do? Walks over and says, opens it up. Yeah, okay. Cool. And close. That's it. Done.